Hi, I'm Susan Grigsby and I'm the media specialist at Elkins Point Middle School in Roswell, Georgia. I'm here to talk about how the ideas of data-driven collaboration, readers' theater, and participatory library came together with a lesson plan I helped design last year. A 7th grade teacher came to me looking for a way to enhance the lessons in reading with a group of boys that fell into quite a few at-risk categories. They were male, they were minority, economically challenged, and earning consistently low scores on standardized test instruments. The teacher and I looked at the Checkpoints test scores for the boys. Now, Checkpoints is a Fulton County test that is supposed to mirror the CRCT so that teachers have some pre-test data before they actually go into the high-stakes testing. And we noticed that the boys were very weak in the standards of ELA 7R1, which is comprehension, characterization, and tone and mood. They were also very low in ELA 7R2, which is vocabulary and context clues, but interestingly enough, they scored a little higher in the areas addressed by ELA 7R3, which is accurately reads aloud with rhythm, flow, meter, and uses self-correction. Well, that gave me the idea that readers' theater might be a really good strategy to focus on the positives while working on the weak areas. Now, I used this book. This is called Readers' Theater for Middle School Boys, and it's by Anne N. Black. And the classroom teacher and I selected a script based on Edgar Allan Poe's Masque of the Red Death. Now, it was suitably creepy for the boys' interest to be piqued, and it had just enough challenging vocabulary to accomplish our goals. Now, the boys were each assigned a part, and as the lesson and practicing progressed, they could experiment with changing these roles around, so they each got to experiment being a narrator or being red or being blue or whatever. They were encouraged to get into character with voicing, and they had a lot of fun with that. The characterization not only addressed a standard, but it allowed the boys to read aloud freely and blame mistakes on the character's voice and the development of character. So it took away some of their fears of reading out loud. Now, we really stressed that we were practicing in a creative free zone, which meant no one was allowed to tease or belittle or ridicule somebody if they tried something and it didn't work. So it gave them a lot of freedom to try new words and stumble over them a little bit, knowing that they weren't going to be teased and it was going to be okay. We were very supportive of each other's exploration into character and voicing, and it started out really rough, but they eventually rose to the challenge. Now, the classroom teacher purchased Mardi Gras masks for the boys, and we videotaped their final performance. And they sat in a circle and read with rhythm, flow, and meter, and then they listened to each other so they would know when to come in with their own lines. They sat up straight, they sat up proud, and while they read their lines, they were very proud of the final piece. Now, the videotape was made with the idea that it would be shown to their peers, so they were acutely aware of themselves and how they were being presented. It seemed more important to impress their peers than to impress a teacher or to go for a grade. Now, while it never came to fruition, we also wanted to Skype the performance to a high school group, because the idea that I have is that these boys need to see that there are boys like them at high school that are successful, that are good students. I think sometimes we see failure in our students not because of what we're not doing, but because they don't see themselves as students, much less successful ones. And I think we will go a long way to increasing our graduation rates if we can alter this self-perception that many of our failing students have. Now, readers' theater is a great tool for reluctant readers. It can be staged like a play, full-on production, or it can be just kids sitting in a chair reading a script. It's flexible enough so that the educator media specialist can alter word choices if necessary, and it gives the reader a chance to show off new skills under the guise of a new character. That's very freeing for many of our students who have trouble with reading. I believe that readers' theater is a form of storytelling that is so readily accessible to the librarian for teaching, and I highly recommend using it with your students. I also think it's an excellent tool for bringing students into the library and interacting with literature and with technology as we used it in this case. I'm happy to report that out of the 12 boys that we did this lesson with last year, 8 of them are now regular visitors in the Media Center, and the whole process changed their perception of what a library is, what a librarian does, and they're now comfortable visiting us here. So use Reader's Theater, enjoy it. Get this book if you haven't had a chance to get it, whether you work with middle school or low readers at the high school level. I think you'll find something in here that's really great. If this is not your cup of tea, Aaron Shepard has some great Reader's Theater script online, and you can find them elsewhere via the internet. So enjoy a Reader's Theater production with your students, and I am Susan Grigsby with Elkins Point Middle School in Roswell, Georgia. Enjoy.